You're here because you have a question. Maybe you love music and you're wondering if you're sinning. Maybe someone told you all music is haram and you're confused about whether that's actually true. Maybe you're a musician yourself and you're struggling with guilt. Whatever brought you here, know this: your question matters, and the answer is more nuanced than you've probably been told. I'm not here to impose a ruling on you. I'm here to show you what the sources actually say, the Quran, the Hadiths, and what the greatest scholars of Islam actually concluded, so that you can make an informed decision. Let's start with something that might surprise you. The Quran never uses the word music, not once. Think about that. If music was supposed to be a major, unambiguous sin in Islam, wouldn't Allah mention it explicitly in the Quran? He mentions wine, he mentions gambling, he mentions lying, theft, and murder. But music? Nothing explicit. What the Quran does address is your relationship with anything that can distract you from Allah. In Surah Luqman, chapter 31, verse 6, Allah says, "And of the people is he who buys the amusement of speech to mislead from the way of Allah without knowledge and takes it in ridicule." Now, scholars have debated for 1400 years, does amusement of speech include music? Some say yes, some say no. They interpret it as vain speech or false preaching. But here's what's important. Notice what's actually being condemned. It's not the sound, it's not the medium, it's the effect. Someone using something to mislead people from Allah's path, doing it mockingly. That's very different from saying all music is haram. In Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 36, Allah mentions balance, "And we have sent among every nation a messenger." The principle throughout the Quran is moderation, not extremism. In fact, the Quran celebrates beautiful voices. In Surah Taha, chapter 20, verse 108, it describes how people's voices blend together in praise of Allah. The Prophet himself said, "Beautify the Quran with your voices." So here's what's clear from the Quranic text itself. There is no explicit prohibition of music. What is condemned is excess, mockery of faith, and distraction from remembrance of Allah. These are not the same as music itself. Now, if the Quran doesn't explicitly forbid music, where does the strict ruling come from? From the Hadith. And this is where you need to understand something crucial. Not all Hadiths are equal. The strict Hadith. There is a hadith recorded in several sources stating that musical instruments are haram. One hadith mentions that two things are haram in this dunya, the flute and the drum, a reference to forbidden instruments. But here's what most people don't know. When Islamic scholars grade these hadiths using the science of isnad, chain of narrators, many of them have weak chains. For example, the hadith about the flute and the drum being haram. This hadith is found in At-Tirmidhi, Jami At-Tirmidhi, 3114. But even At-Tirmidhi, the great hadith scholar himself, graded it as da'if, weak. He said, the chain in this hadith is not strong. This doesn't mean the hadith is fake. It means the chain of people reporting it back to the Prophet is weak, making it unreliable as a primary source for Islamic law.
The permissive hadiths. But there are also hadiths showing a very different picture. Aisha, the Prophet's wife, reported, "The Prophet came to my house while two girls were singing the songs of Bu'ath, a tribe. He covered himself with a sheet and listened." This is recorded in Sahih al-Bukhari, 3826. Think about that. The Prophet didn't stop them. He didn't rebuke Aisha. He listened. In another hadith, when the Prophet returned from a battle, women came out singing welcome songs. The Prophet was present. He didn't forbid them. This is in Sunan Abu Dawud, 4019. There's also the famous story of Tuwais, a renowned singer. The Prophet listened to him and didn't forbid him from singing. So what do we make of this contradiction? This is where Islamic jurisprudence becomes sophisticated. Scholars didn't just throw up their hands and say, "We don't know." They asked, what's the context? What specific practice is being forbidden? Many scholars concluded the stricter hadiths were addressing specific cultural practices in Arabia, music in contexts of intoxication, immorality, and sin. The permissive hadiths showed the Prophet allowing music in contexts of celebration and righteousness. The prohibition wasn't on music itself, it was on music as a vehicle for haram behavior.
After the time of the Prophet, Islamic scholars organized jurisprudence into schools of law. The four major schools are Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, and Hanbali. And they didn't all reach the same conclusion on music. Let me tell you what each school actually teaches, because this is crucial for you to understand. The Hanafi school, founded by Abu Hanifa, generally the most lenient. They permit music and musical instruments as long as it's not associated with haram behavior. Their reasoning, the strict hadiths on music have weak chains. The Prophet's actual practice shows music wasn't universally forbidden, so they permit it. The Maliki school, founded by Malik ibn Anas, also permits music. Malik himself had no problem with music. The Maliki approach says, look at what the Prophet actually did and permitted, not just theoretical prohibitions. They especially permit nasheed, Islamic songs, and celebration music. The Shafi'i school, founded by Shafi'i, takes a careful middle position. Some Shafi'i scholars permit music in certain contexts, celebrations, nasheed, entertainment, but discourage it in others, especially if it's a profession that distracts from deen.
The Hanbali school, founded by Ahmad ibn Hanbal, traditionally stricter. Many Hanbali scholars forbid music and instruments. However, and this is important, even Hanbali scholars permit the Quran to be recited beautifully, permit the call to prayer, and permit certain types of Islamic singing. Here's what I want you to understand. These are not arbitrary differences. They're not because one school got it right and the others didn't. They differed because they weighed the evidence differently based on their scholarly methodology. A Hanafi scholar is not wrong. A Hanbali scholar is not wrong. They're following different valid methodologies. And this means you have the right to follow any of these schools. If you're Hanafi or Maliki and you listen to music, you're following a valid Islamic position. If you're Hanbali or strict Shafi and avoid music, you're also following a valid Islamic position. Neither of you is sinning. Neither of you is disobedient. You're just following different valid schools of law.
Now, don't misunderstand me. There are things that all scholars agree on, and these are the boundaries you need to know. First, everyone agrees the Quran should be recited beautifully. There is no debate on this. Second, everyone agrees that music in contexts of haram is forbidden. If music is accompanying intoxication, sexual immorality, or mockery of faith, then it's haram. All four schools agree. Third, everyone agrees on intention, niyyah. A deed's permissibility depends on your intention. Even if music is permissible in principle, if your intention is corrupt, it becomes haram. Fourth, everyone agrees that if music becomes an obsession and distracts you from prayer, from your family, from your Islamic obligations, then it's harmful and you should abandon it, not because sound waves are forbidden, but because distraction from Allah is forbidden. Fifth, even the strictest scholars agree that nasheed, Islamic songs with Islamic content, are permissible. Even scholars who forbid secular music permit the singing of Islamic poetry and praise to Allah. So here's what's actually settled. The problem is never the medium. The problem is always the message, the intention,
and the consequences.
Now, I want to speak directly to you, wherever you are on this spectrum. If you've been told that all music is absolutely haram, I understand where that comes from. There are strict hadiths, there are scholars who hold that position, but you need to know this is not the unanimous position of Islam. Major schools, the Hanafi and Maliki schools, permit music. Countless scholars across 1400 years permitted it. Even in the strictest schools, exceptions exist. When someone tells you that listening to instrumental music is a grave sin and a sign of weak faith, they are not representing the full Islamic tradition. They're representing one position held by some scholars. And here's the danger. This absolutism creates unnecessary guilt. It makes people feel they're sinning when they're actually within the bounds of Islamic law. It divides families. It judges people unjustly. If you're a Muslim who listens to music, don't carry guilt for something that sincere Islamic scholars have permitted.
But if you think Islam has nothing to say about music, you're also missing something. The Quran does address principles that govern music. Intent matters. Consequence matters. The effect on your soul matters. Islam does provide guidance here. When someone listens to music that explicitly glorifies sin, or when someone spends more time on music than on prayer, or when music becomes a way to run away from faith, this is not neutral. Islam does guide us. The truth is in the middle. Islam provides guidance without absolute prohibition. It trusts your conscience.
Let me be very clear about what is definitely haram. No ambiguity here. Music created to corrupt. If music is explicitly designed to pull you away from Islam, to glorify haram, to seduce or to intoxicate, it's haram. This is clear. Music as your God. If you love music more than you love Allah, if you spend more time on music than on prayer, if your emotional life revolves around music and your spiritual life takes a back seat, you've made music your God. This is shirk, idolatry. This is haram. Music that reliably leads you to sin. If listening to a specific artist or song consistently leads you to drinking, to sexual sin, to disobedience, then it's haram for you. You must recognize your weakness and avoid it. Mockery of Islam. Music that mocks Islam, that ridicules the Quran, that demeans prophets or believers. This is clearly haram. No disagreement. These lines are clear. The gray area is smaller than we often make it. Now, let me ask you, are you crossing any of these lines? If yes, you know what you need to do. If no, then you might be fine. Here's a test I want you to take. Be honest with yourself. Question 1. Why do you listen to music? Is it a moment of relaxation within a life devoted to Allah, or is it escapism from your faith? Question 2. Does it affect your prayers? When you're in Maghrib prayer, are you thinking about that song, or are you present with Allah? Question 3. Does it pull you toward haram? After listening, do you feel closer to Allah or further away? Question 4. Is your life balanced? Do you spend more time on music than on Quran? Do you know more lyrics than surahs? 5. What would you answer if Allah asked you tomorrow, why did you listen to this? Not what you wish you could answer. What would you honestly answer? If your answers show that music is serving your deen, that it's not distracting you, that your intention is pure, then you're likely fine according to Islamic law. If your answers show that music is becoming a distraction, a replacement for prayer, a vehicle for sin, then you need to change, and you know it. Your conscience is a guide. Listen to it.
I see something happening in Muslim communities that concerns me. We're inventing restrictions that Islam never imposed. When the Prophet lived,
Music existed, instruments existed, singing existed. The Prophet didn't command the companions to destroy all instruments. He didn't forbid all singing. He didn't establish extreme piety based on avoiding music. But today, some Muslims teach positions stricter than the Prophet himself established. They forbid things the Prophet permitted. They judge things the Prophet accepted. This is a form of bid'ah, innovation beyond the sources. There is wisdom in the restrictions Islam actually places. There is arrogance in the restrictions we add. Don't add your own laws on top of Islamic law. Stay within the boundaries Allah has set, but don't add walls where Allah hasn't placed them.
Here's a practical question for you. If you've decided music is haram, are you following a validated Islamic school, or are you following someone's personal interpretation? Because if you're following the Hanbali school, that's valid. That's one of the 4 schools. But if you're following someone on social media who's decided all music is haram and you think that's the Islamic position, you might be mistaken. Or maybe you've decided music is permissible because a friend said it's fine, but that's not the same as studying the schools of law and making an informed decision. Here's what I'm saying. Make a conscious, informed decision. Study the positions, understand the evidence, consult with a knowledgeable scholar in your school of law, then decide. But whatever you decide, do it with knowledge, not emotion. Do it with humility, not arrogance. And don't judge others who decide differently within the scope of valid Islamic positions.
Something crucial that people miss. Your personal condition changes what's permissible for you. 2 people can listen to the exact same song. For one person, it's permissible. For the other, it's prohibited. Why? Because their situations are different. If you're struggling with weak faith, music might be a distraction you cannot afford. For you, avoiding music might be necessary, not because it's universally haram, but because you need to protect your deen. If your faith is strong, your prayers are consistent, your connection to Allah is secure, the same music might be harmless, even beneficial as a moment of joy in a life of service. Islam respects this difference. It says, Allah burdens not a person beyond his capacity. Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 286. This is why one blanket ruling cannot apply to everyone. What's haram for you might be permissible for your neighbor, and both of you can be right according to Islamic law.
So here's my conclusion. There is no single Islamic position on music. There are multiple valid Islamic positions held by qualified scholars across centuries. You are free to choose among these positions based on your honest assessment of how music affects your relationship with Allah, the school of law you follow, your personal condition and weakness, and your sincere intention. You should not judge your brother or sister who makes a different choice within the scope of these valid positions. You should examine yourself if your music pulls you toward haram or away from faith. Most importantly, this isn't about following a blind rule. It's about having a conscious relationship with Allah. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to Allah or further away? Is my intention pure, or am I running away from something? Am I following a valid Islamic position, or have I invented my own? Am I judging others justly for their choices? Answer these with honesty, and you'll find your path. That path might look different from your neighbor's, and that's not just okay, that's Islamic. The beauty of Islam is that it provides guidance while respecting your conscience and your personal journey with Allah. Now you have the knowledge. The decision is yours.